again, I'm Carlton Sharp, pastor of Faith Christian Center Church, right here in Beaumont, Texas. And we're here on what's happening in our neighborhood. And today, my special guest is Commissioner Michael Senegal. Welcome, Commissioner.
Hello, Pastor.
Hey, I've been trying to get you on here for the longest.
It's God's plan. God's plan, Pastor. Only we know how it happened.
Yeah. So first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am Commissioner Michael Senegal, product of Port Arthur, Texas, born and raised, Washington on the Brasses, Texas, old country boy, and Christian.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Now, Commissioner, this is going to be you're getting ready to begin the re-election for your fourth term as commissioner.
Yes,
of,
it is.
Of Jefferson County Precinct number 3.
Yes, it is.
So tell us, first of all, when you first ran, why did you want to run for commissioner?
God's plan.
God's plan.
I was a coach in Port Arthur for almost 20 years, and actually I miss coaching, and I found that every time I didn't obey God's wishes, I got in trouble. So I was always pretty much activist behind the scene, wanting to do better for the community, wanting the community to do better, and I've always just had a voice for people and to serve people. I miss coaching, I must say, but if the good Lord takes me back there, my body probably wouldn't hold up. But I've abused that. But it's just God's plan. I honestly can say.
So most people might not know what is Precinct 3. So give us a demographic of where Precinct 3 is.
Precinct 3 is the south part of Groves on south part of 73, all of Port Arthur. Sabine Pass, which is part of Port Arthur, but we always distinguish it separately, and Hampshire. As you come in on 73 from Winnie, that's my precinct. It begins at County Line Road, where Chambers County and my precinct starts. Okay,
so what are some of your biggest accomplishments that you look back over these 3 terms that you've been there as commissioner?
Well, one of the biggest accomplishments is that, I've been able to work with other entities to get things done. Mainly, in the city of Port Arthur. I mean, my largest population is the city of Port Arthur. Hampshire is my primary area, citizens of about 200-300 people. I have 0 complaints. I mean, I have a crew that takes care of that, and I'm out there under disaster. One of the biggest accomplishments is we've been able to work with other entities and get things done for the taxpayers that won't be duplicating services, but making their tax dollars stretch even further.
Now with the storms that happened, I mean, your crew had to be out there all the time. I mean, we had Imelda, we had Harvey before that.
Right, Harvey. My home had 2 feet of water in it, and I was blessed to have a friend of mine, J.W. Turner Construction, that came in and told me to go take care of people.
Wow.
And
that's
they
good.
took care of my home and my wife, so I didn't have to stress over taking care of my home, and I was able to help so many different people just trying to get back in their home and just to get them settled. My crew had to clean roads. Harvey was devastating.
Right.
Both times, and Imelda. Imelda was almost as bad, for the Hampshire area. Yeah. Several people flooded, and that was a storm between those 2. It was an unnamed storm, but it flooded a few homes.
Now, what people don't understand is how much time you have to put in when disasters hit our area.
And not just when disasters hit, Pastor. We're there 24/7. My crew, the night of Imelda, were out there. My assistant superintendent, my superintendent was out there and in the middle of a tornado trying to secure the equipment and rescue people, and just, it was really scary at 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 a.m., and all they could hear is tornadoes dancing around.
Now, in your precinct, did you lose equipment because of Harvey?
For Harvey, I lost almost $2 million worth of equipment. We technically never dreamed that the water would get almost 10 feet deep in Hampshire. My stockpile yard, which is on 124 in Hampshire, had almost 10 feet of water in it. I lost about $2 million. We had $1 million worth of insurance on the equipment. The rest had to come out of FEMA reimbursements, which we still haven't gotten all of. But now Imelda hit. For Imelda, we didn't lose any. Maybe 1 truck. It was an older truck.
Yeah. So what are some of the challenges that you see for your precinct?
Well, expansions. We're possibly going to have about $65 billion with a B worth of
Wow.
expansions just in my precinct. I mean, the estimation has been 100 billion, but I'm being conservative and saying 50 to 100 billion. You know, and traffic issues is going to be one of the biggest issues, right? And I'm facing that already from the past expansions, the ongoing expansions that's happening now. You have Golden Pass, ExxonMobil that's going to expand. Finding people for these jobs. I mean, you know, Pastor, I put the crowd to anyone that can hear that, get your training, and there is companies that's coming in that's willing to train.
Right.
Just met with Branch Scaffolding last week. There's a program at Lamar where they're going to come in. It's like a 6-week program. You train, and they almost guarantee you a job. And they may not all be in the Port Arthur area. Some may be in the Houston area.
Right.
But they'll train you, and the scholar you can apply at Lamar. That's only going to be like 15 at a time, and they're going to do, I think every 90 days they're going to do a class.
And with 50 to 100 billion with a B coming our way, I mean, and the workforce, they need the workforce in our area.
Right. And it's going to take the churches, it's going to take the schools to emphasize to young people, you can make 6 figures on some of these jobs.
Wow.
I mean, you know, everything. I taught school for 20 years, taught special ed, and my springboard to where I am today, I have now a lifetime teaching certification where I can teach go back to teaching. I have a journeyman carpenter certification. I have a criminal justice, BS in criminal justice, and half the way in my master's. But what springboarded me to that opportunity is construction, and I was able to feed my family. It's just that unions were big back then, and then when they played out, it became real political, and I almost starved to death, me and my family. So I had to go. As my mom had told me since we were little kids, I'm the youngest of 7. Get an education. That's something they can't ever take away from you.
And that's what we want to tell the young people out there right now.
That's it.
Hey, listen. There's jobs out there for you.
Jobs, I promise you. And it's incumbent on us as elected officials and the ministers and the leaders of this community to make sure that the opportunity, once we promise them, do what you're supposed to do. You know, keep your record clean. But even if you kind of fall off the rail, I don't ever give up on kids.
That's good. That's good, Commissioner.
As a teacher, 20 years, I've always told my kids, I'll never give up on you. You're going to give up on me trying to help you. And that's my blessing.
I like that.
I've never given up on a kid. One in my office this morning that has a little problem, and we're working through that.
So Commissioner, I mean, you've been on the Commissioner's Court for 3 terms.
Yes, sir.
Why do you want to continue to serve in this position in our community?
As I said, I was, good Lord pushed me that way, being obedient to God. I was also a city councilman for 3 terms prior to being elected to this office, and also a head football coach. So, I mean, it's just it's in my blood. My mom, you fight for the less fortunate. You fight for those that may not have a voice. And it's just in my blood. I mean, if I had to tell you I plan where I am today, I'd be lying to you, Pastor. It's a story I tell about when I was a juvenile probation intake officer in Dallas County, and I asked God to be proactive because so many young people were coming in. And when police in Dallas County back in the latter 80s, I mean, they would find a kid 2 o'clock in the morning, they would bring him to the rescue shelter, for Dallas County. And it was so depressing that I prayed one night and I asked God to allow me to be proactive in kids' lives, and it's a testimony to what if you be careful what you pray for. I had a daytime job, an intake officer for Dallas County, and then I had a nighttime job where I would apprehend shoplifters in Mesquite, Texas, town East Mall. And I had never heard of crack before. And this guy came in, he wasn't big as a beanpole, and he turned me every which way but loose. I wasn't as big as I am now, but I was pretty strong. He turned me every which, and I injured my back, and I didn't have family there, so I told my wife I was going to move back to Port Arthur. Not remembering the prayer that I prayed to be proactive in young people's lives. Moved back to Port Arthur to have surgery where my wife would have help with me if she had to do anything. My brothers and my mom, everybody was back in Port Arthur. And I started substitute teaching. Hey, I like this. Did that for like 5 years, and one day I was standing on the football field and kids loved me. I mean, I thank God for that. And God said, you remember what you prayed for.
Yeah.
Now
yeah,
you're a
yeah,
coach
yeah,
and they're teaching. Coaches are revered. They are.
They are. They are.
And I'm still, one of the reasons I'm in this office is because God led me down that path to coach where I can touch people's lives, and they still support me.
And the thing is, I mean, in that position as coach, I mean, you become a father figure to young men. I
Did,
mean, the mentoring process.
I tell people I have two daughters. One of my daughters 31 and one's 35 or 32 and 36.
But a whole lot of sons, huh?
And they would be in my house. I thank God my wife understood. We'd feed them. They stayed at night. I'd put them to work. I'd pay them. You know? And kids still, as I said, I had one in my office. I've even hired a couple as temporary workers. You know, some write me from prison and from jail, and I don't ever give up. I still haven't given up on them.
So, Commissioner, the viewers might not understand what you do as a commissioner. So before we go any further, tell us what you do as a commissioner.
Pretty much because I was a coach and a city council person, people think I'm still there. You know, so really I handle a lot of problems. You know, when people have problems at school or in the school district, they come and ask my advice. But my primary responsibility is to maintain the unincorporated areas of Jefferson County. Beaumont have their city managers and their mayors. Port Arthur have the same, neither. But anything outside of that municipality, we maintain drainage, we maintain the roads, you know, any type of vegetation problems they have. We just manage, you know, it's a $110 million budget for the county. Most of that is the jail. You know, Sheriff Stevens maintained that budget, but we have my budget is $110,000.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sorry, $1.1 million.
$1.1 million.
Yeah. So I'm just a 1/10 of the overall budget.
Now, in the days to come, the census, they're going to be doing the census.
Wow. Yeah.
So talk to us about the importance of the census and why we need to participate in you know, putting our name on that list.
Maybe last night people might have saw the kickoff census, you know, program we did yesterday at Region Planning. The census is so important because it not only gives you federal funding, they look at the census of how many people are living there, how many people in this demographic, the demographics and everything else, and we get congressional seats, senatorial seats. My job is depending on population, because what a lot of people don't know is that we even in the county, there's 254 counties in Texas.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know that. Every county has 4 commissioners, no matter how small or how big, 4 commissioners and 1 judge. The deviation between population for each commissioner can be no more than 10%.
Wow.
In other words, Commissioner Arnold, who's in Precinct 1, I can't have less than 10%. He can't have more than 10% more of a population than me. Commissioner Alpha, Commissioner Weaver, so it has to stay within that bound. Or you have to do realignment.
Gotcha.
And that's something that's coming up. Realignment is based on the census also.
Wow.
So we're going to be realigning the county. Hopefully we didn't lose population. The census is going to tell us who's here. What people fail to understand also, Pastor, is that the census counts everyone. Undocumented citizens,
that's good.
Transits. I got a memo yesterday about a program the HUD does called the PIT, People in Transition or something it's called. And we have to count those people. It's required by HUD that we count those people. So even if you know, get the person name. If they're homeless, get their name, get where they are.
Yeah.
And we'll try and get them counted also, because that's going to be door knockers and foot soldiers that go out and count people. The census is very important.
Yeah, it determines a whole bunch, like you said. I mean, the federal dollars,
right?
Our representation in Congress and everything. I mean,
Senate.
So it's important, but you know, people take it for granted.
They take it for granted, and I mean, a lot of people think it's a big brother looking into you. But and I can honestly promise you it's confidential in all the information, and that's one of the things I want to put out to, you know, especially Hispanic population that's kind of leery right now, is that it's confidential. It's a federal crime to even give out that information. So if anybody find out that their information was given out, then it's a federal crime.
Yeah, because that's good that you talk about the Hispanic community, because the mindset is that if I give you my information, I might be deported if I haven't done all the things.
And today's climate, regardless of the political review, I think it's intentional to scare them in that manner, and I think that's a travesty, because one thing you do if even a illegal citizen come, I don't call them illegal aliens. That sounds like something from outer space, regardless what the definition. An illegal immigrant gets hurt, or they have to get care. That care, even though they're undocumented, it costs.
Right.
So we have to understand that everyone in this area needs to be counted.
Man,
so important.
Those federal dollars mean a whole bunch to us.
Means a lot, means a lot.
So what other challenges are the county as a whole facing that we need to be mindful of?
Well, one thing about it, our court has been very conservative, fiscally responsible before its budget goes, and we maintain a reserve budget of about 45, depending on who you ask, about 45 million. That's so if we have a storm, we can get the county back up running with payroll, equipment before FEMA, because sometimes FEMA take 10 years, 20 years. We're still trying to settle some claims from Ike. So
wow.
It's finally about at the end, and now Harvey, and now Imelda. So it'll be the next 10, 15 years before God's blessing that we don't have any more storms before we settle up on all of disasters.
I'll be praying for them storms.
That's right.
They gotta go the other way.
Yeah, please. I don't wish on anybody else, but I surely don't let them be a fish storm, as they say. But some of the challenges is going to be just dealing with job people, not qualifications, what we talked about earlier about people, skilled labor. Just finding the skilled labor to fulfill some of the jobs. Traffic is going to be a major issue. That's a $61 million highway design for highways, the intersection at Highway 69 and 73 in my precinct.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad there, and there's a $61 million design
that's all that looping right there.
Looping.
Yeah.
It's going to be even more looping, but it'll make a lot easier to transgress through there. And this should start. The project should let in April of 2021, and the construction should start in summer of 2021. So it's going to be pretty bad, right at the peak of some of the expansions.
Now, and that's good for the people in Port Arthur area to understand that, hey, listen, it's going to be bad initially, but it's going to be better at the end of it.
Yeah, growing pains. That's what everybody say. A lot of people come through from Orange County, and, even if you work in Port Arthur going to the refineries, you need to know that it's going to probably be some detours, some major construction. They're outlining all the engineering stuff as we speak. I just passed there. They're doing some engineering work, but it's pegged to start in 2021.
And like you said earlier, the partnerships that you're making with the industries in the Port Arthur area, in that area over there, is vital to the survival of our economy. That's
right. That's exactly right. And it's protected us even through all the recession that other areas in the nation were going through. You notice there haven't been any tax hikes since I've been on the court, and prior to that, I want to say about 8 years prior to that.
Wow.
So, there with the bond issues and other navigation districts and drainage districts raising their taxes, it seems that the county is raising taxes. We have not, as a court, raised taxes. I know in 12 years. I can't tell you how long. I think it's about 8 years prior to me.
So about 20 years.
About 20 years.
Wow.
On the citizen, and we have maintained a responsible budget.
That's good. That's good. So in our closing moments, Commissioner, what would you like to leave with the people of Southeast Texas today?
Well, that we're here to serve. We're here to serve, and I want to say that, our numbers are public record if it's a problem. And as I said, I work for the school district in Port Arthur, and I have information that might help people. I have open door policy. I get criticized for that sometimes because people walk in my office. I'm in the sub courthouse, 525 Lakeshore Drive, and my vote, even in Port Arthur, affects people in North Beaumont, West End Beaumont, South Beaumont, all over Jefferson County. So we just need to make sure that you hold us accountable for whatever your needs are, within reason. We can't fix everything, but the things we can do, the rest is in God's hand.
Now, Commissioner, tell us when do you guys meet for the public part of it?
As of September 15, I'm gonna say around that time, we started meeting on Tuesdays at 10:30. We used to meet on Mondays at 1:30. Now we meet on Tuesdays at 10:30, and our court lasts about 30 minutes, and that's a long court because we do most of the business prior to get in there, unless we have proclamations or we have discussions. It's public participation. You have to sign up prior to the meeting. It has to pertain to something on the agenda. But we have a pretty open court. Yeah.
And then they could go online to see all of the documentation.
All the documentation, all the agenda, what's coming. The hot topic now is